Greetings everyone and welcome back to the new, the improved and indeed the painted Dapper 1, DRP1 or Scarab. We have at this point really settled on a theme. I think it's fair to say that the insect kind of design, the spikes, the carapace like nature, the mandibles, they're going to be staying. And I've really settled on the color scheme, at least for our combat ships. The Hercules has a slightly different color scheme, but still it's very similar. There's bold reds, there's bold yellows, but where the Scarab and the Fire Ant have a more greyish undercoat, the Hercules has a white undercoat. And that might be something that we'll continue moving forward with for our industrial ships, and I say that because that might become relevant later in the episode. We will see. Now, a couple of things that I noticed in the last episode versus the Fire Ant and the Scarab, that is this scaffolding, as much as I put it there for its form rather than its function, wow, was it functional. Now, it does basically nothing for for lasers and cannon shots. They'll just pierce straight through. But missiles will clip this, do a tiny amount of damage, but register the hit, causing the missile to detonate. Which meant that this was effectively acting like a shield for the Fire Ant. The completely unshielded Fire Ant ate several large explosions to the face and took barely any damage, whereas the Scarab, by comparison, the moment it hasn't got shields, starts losing thruster nacelles left and right, something that we might want to look into. Perhaps I could build out some sort of scaffolding arm over here, or in fact, take the armor out a little bit further. It would be nice to have more point defense forward-facing rather than side-facing, since this really doesn't help if a missile is moving down like this. They don't get enough time firing, so some point defense firing out from the nacelles or firing forward from some sort of armored wing would definitely be useful. It would also give me some more room for some shields, but that is something that we'll look at later on. And speaking about later on, what are we going to be doing in the here and now? Well, I think what we're going to be doing is getting out there and doing some more killing. I want a little bit more combat experience with the Scarab. I haven't settled completely on its design. In fact, I've got one fairly big change in mind, though thankfully it's going to be while it's a big change, it is big in like footprint, but fairly simple to implement. Oh, don't tell me we're going to drag along. Oh, thank goodness. Please, no, don't drag along an asteroid. That's even worse. Scarab, move over here, you silly sausage, my lord. Alright, there we go. Alright, hopefully the Hercules has a bit of a better time getting in there to the station, which it will then demolish. But at the end of the episode, I would, like to have had a little bit more time to play around with the Scarab, gotten a few more fights in for those who are feeling a little bit action-starved, and indeed, aside from that, decided on the next kind of ship that we're going to build. Now, there are two ideas for the next ship, and they, roughly speaking, fall into the industrial or the combat fields. Of course, I've been playing around and teasing the idea of deck guns for a long time now, and I think the next ship we build really does need to have deck guns as its main weapon system. But there is one utility ship that has kind of been on my mind for a little while, and someone in the comments suggested something remarkably cheesy. Now, I have been made aware by commenters for a while now that there are some very choice asteroids around the star, well within the danger radius of the star. So a sun lifter would be a ship with a tractor beam and the kind of shielding and armor needed to be able to get in there and weather the withering, baleful gaze of the sun at close range, grab hold of an asteroid and then pull it back out so that the Hercules could mine its juicy insides. However, someone in the comments suggested that you could apply this in a more of a combat role. Now, the idea of the combat lifter, or I guess sun diver at that point, rather than lifting, you're pushing things into the sun, would be that you'd tractor beam an enemy ship and then just rock it into the sun where your shields can tank it, and they definitely can't. Plus, you'd be kind of using them like a shield for part of the fight. However, someone else went to took it a step further and said, well, you could just grab friendly stations and do the same thing. And I was like, my lord, that's grim. That's almost as grim as the fact that whilst looking I don't know. I actually cut out the intro because I was like, oh no, that's a little bit too dark, Aavak. But that is on the same sort of grim level as looking at the two different kind of shades of red. By the way, these are the same colors, and I don't know why the scarabs shows up that much bright. But my first thought was like, yeah, this looks like blood that comes from, lower in the digestive system, whereas this is bright red blood. This is highly oxygenated blood. So this tells me that the fire ant bore its way through someone's abdomen and the scarab exploded from someone's chest. My mind works in mysterious and apparently bloody ways. But again, I threw away that intro because it's like, oh, that's too dark, and now I brought it back in. I don't even know why I bothered. But yeah, the idea of just grabbing a friend and throwing them into the sun, because apparently they won't get angry about this. That is cheesy on the level that I'm not sure I can handle. That's the sort of cheese that you don't just taste, you breathe by being in the same room as it. So, yeah, I hope you'll forgive me if I say that's a little bit too much for me. That cheese has got a powerful odor. It's a very clever idea, you cunning so-and-so, but maybe not for us. However, what is for us is trying to burrow through this, but you've got a lot of shields. A lot of shields and a decent range on a lot of your weapon systems. Now, the fire ant should be able to take out these thruster clusters at the back. It's got 2 railguns of a moderate length, not something I'm too worried about, but we do need to be in motion. So you get up to a nice healthy speed. Now, fire ant, what are your weapon systems? They are set to target. Okay, good. I want you to hit this thruster cluster. Don't use the nukes yet. If we come around behind and they are locked on the scarab, then we will position and we will launch the nuke straight down the middle. But the scarab, let me just make sure your weapon system, your weapon systems were not set to the correct fire mode. Let's make sure that is the case. There we go. Right, scarab, I would like you to rotate around. Like, have your guns facing this direction. Spin. Right. Fire ant, how close are we? They are adjusting. It looks like they're turning to face the fire ant. No, they are not. Okay. Fire ant, you are missiles. Weapons clear. Let's just make sure that you're within range. I can only assume we are. Yes, we're very much within range. So, okay, well, fire ant, you start unloading. Oh, no. Wrong ones. We're actually dealing with the nukes there. My bad. We almost shot the wrong missiles. I was wondering why we weren't already engaging. But okay, fair enough. Fire ant, let's get your... Scarab, let's get your weapon system targeting the right thing. Now, the problem is we're going to burrow through a lot of shields in order to get over here. Still, fire. We have hit one. Oh, we actually did manage to smack that weapon there. Very, very nice. Now, is this ready to fire again? Let's just double check the railgun. Let's bring up alt on it. How often can you fire? 0.25 shots a second, so every second you can fire. That should not be a problem then. It's 1 time speed. So I'm going to just we're going to slow things down just a little bit. Right, we've got missiles away. We've got incoming laser fire. It managed to hit. And again, this is an example. It went through this. A missile would have detonated. But the laser went straight through. Right, fire ant, I would like you now to start curling around here. Let's rotate. If you could spin about. We will launch nukes in a moment. Fire ant, Scarab, I'm getting the two of you mixed up. We'll press R this time to rotate. But I've got to remember that because of the way that the Scarab works, its heading does need to be swiveled all the way around. But let's have a watch. Hopefully we can fire our weapon systems, or perhaps it's a little bit too early. No, there we go. And, oh, incoming. They are going to hit my shields. No, actually, shot down. How curious. Right, Scarab, at this point, you can start maintaining distance. So, start burning away. Now, of course, I would like to fan my, my rails. But for the time being, set the rails to just maintain fire. And Fire Ant, I want you to move in. right behind. Get in close enough that your nukes can launch. Please and thank you. And let's start watching how this fight pans out. We've already got a lot of damage out here. Have we hit any critical systems? Almost. And there we go. That's one thruster cluster down. Fire Ant, could you aim at the... Make sure that we're using the right one. There we go. The problem is it looks the same. The only thing that tells me what I'm using is this. That doesn't change to reflect the missile. That's gonna catch me out at some point. I'm just calling it now. Be prepared. That is gonna catch me out. Okay, so that was... They managed to burrow through the front shields and that one as well, but it does look like we're maintaining distance, especially now that their secondary thruster cluster is down. I don't think they're actually going to be able to move, keep pace with the Scarab at all. These missiles are about to impact on their new thruster. And, oh, there was another shot straight down the middle. We've taken out one of their weapon systems. The bridge is almost destroyed at this point. I'm going to tell the Fire Ant to stop firing so that we can try... sorry, the wrong ship there. So that we can try and prevent any unnecessary destruction. Let's just make sure that the nukes are also set to hold fire. There we go. And the Scarab, at this point, I want you to switch over to targeted rails. Let's continue to draw out a little bit. Actually, let's, in fact, scooch back a little bit. And just move the rails off so that we can spin them forward in a moment. Because I think they're about to lose that thruster cluster. No, it's hanging on. No, it isn't. The thrusters are completely ruined. The next volley's moving in. I suspect that if the best thing we can do right now... In fact, actually, Fire Ant, you don't need to be that close. Being close enough for your nukes to be able to fire is close enough for their lasers to be able to hit you. So back off there. In fact, can we activate boosters? Oh, no, you don't have boosters. My bad. I keep forgetting that I've taken boosters away from my designs, which is a bit of a shame, I'm going to be honest. Right, Scarab, can we try and end this quickly? We want to have our main weapon system... Well, it's still actually targeting that, but unfortunately, our enemy is swinging about. So let's try and bring the rails across it. Go. And we'll see how this plans out. Let's speed things up a little bit. There we go. And that is an awful lot of destruction. I think we just took out one of the rail systems. Yes, we did. Okay, at this point, you're more or less dead. You can't get any energy to your thrusters, so it is pretty much our fight now. Okay, well, let's rake the rails across. We didn't do enough damage that time, sadly. Though it looks like fire is taking out the rest of the ship at this point. Bring those across again. Yeah, look at all of that armor. So frustrating. If we had a few more rails, then this would be a much easier fight to win. But what we did save is possibly some fissiles. These weapon systems can be scrapped for a decent amount. There's some ammo. Don't really need those. Though what on earth was it? Oh, of course, the rails use the ammo. I was about to say, it doesn't have any cannons. But okay, not a terrible fight. What kind of damage did we sustain? 2 plates. Absolutely nothing to worry about. What about the Fire Ant? Probably something quite similar. Let's move in. The fights, if I'm playing strategically, are a lot slower. I recognize that, though they'll get faster as I get more competent with the combat commands. Okay, next on the list are 4 targets as a part of the Renegade Pack Bounty. Now, I should imagine that as this is only a 9, and there are 4 of them, then it's generally not going to be too rough of a fight. Nevertheless, let's slide the Fire Ant out to the side. The enemy look like they're already advancing on us, and I strongly suspect this is going to be one of those fights where they're just going to filter through. So I'm tempted to have the Scarab switch over to just fire at will. However, that being said, I will spin you about with target still active on the rails. Oh, they are making some really rapid progress, aren't they? Let's see what happens, and pop, pop. And already dead. Nice. I think we may end up just destroying the reactor if we're not very lucky. No, we're good. We're good. Perfect. Okay, next up is you. So once again, rotate around and keep going. Fire Ant is going to stay off to the side. However, Fire Ant, I want your missile spam active for this one. Let's see what we can do. Right, engage boosters. There we go. Are the weapons ready? There's one. One got a line on what it wanted to hit. And decent chunk of damage there. Let's select the scarab. Let's rotate through. Hopefully the second one will fire. It did. The unfortunate part here is I'm going to take out both the cockpit and the reactor there. This enemy is likely to swing off and attack the Fire Ant, I should imagine. So I should really give the Fire Ant some targets. Go for the bridge if possible. And do so with a little bit more accuracy if you could. There we go. It seems that just fanning whilst retreating is definitely still an option. And I really didn't think it was going to be. But it seems that we're quite capable of adjusting our heading to deal with this. How are you doing? Should we actually turn around? Probably should, really. Turn to face. That should be fine. Scarab's moving into position. And let's have the Scarab fan all the way through. We should... Oh, have I told it what to hit? Oh, I have not. My bad. Let's make sure that happens then. Uh-oh. We are being driven towards another enemy. Cunning. Very cunning enemies here. Pop, never mind. Very dead enemies here. Fire Ant, if you could keep pace, that would be grand, because we don't know what we're about to engage. What will the Fire Ant hit? Go for the bridge again. Fanning whilst advancing away. Well, fanning while retreating is working out reasonably well for the Scarab, I'm going to be honest. Oh, I'm using the wrong thing. My bad. Let me grab the rotation. I find it easier to rotate. Now, I know that you can rotate using R, but quite often I seem to get confused and I'll rotate away just because of the way the ship flies. You can absolutely rotate with R, though. There we go. Pop up. And that entire encounter is gone. My lord, that was nice and easy. Okay, so what have we got over here then? Okay, looks like we've got one of our old friends, the Onslaught. Now then, where could we attack the Onslaught from? We would only need to attack from about there, so how about we rotate around and ideally bring the rails, if we can make this hit work. If we can just get through there and snipe this cockpit, it's going to be glorious. So let's see what we can do. Now, Scarab obviously has to get quite close. Is it going to be able to reverse fast enough to get into position? It might. Yes, it will. Actually, the Onslaught isn't that fast. Okay, so Scarab, I would like you very much to just rotate through. Fan through. 2 shots. And the entire Onslaught just got gutted. And we didn't even take out the reactor. We did take out one of the thruster engineering rooms. You know what? That might actually be useful. Let's bring the Fire Ant down. Let's have a look at your missile complement. It's actually a little bit wanting. Okay, let's get in here then and start grabbing up all of that. And for this one, we're going to very specifically want to disable all. I only want heavy missiles. So, Fire Ant, if you could do the business and just hoover all of those up. Got another enemy coming in. All right, well, while the Fire Ant is disposed, gathering... resupplying. Oh no, it's heading off. We should be fine then. Okay, well, we'll go and find out who that is once the Fire Ant has had some time to gather up some bits. And you know what? I may as well have the Scarab join in as well. Let's have a look at what your storage is like. It's quite full, if I'm perfectly honest. We should probably get rid of some of these plates. I think the Hercules is also full up on plates, though. Yeah. It's probably about time for us to drop by and maybe say hello to one of the traders and get rid of some of the massive, massive stockpile of materials. What are we like on coils, though? We're actually really good on coils, too. Hyper coils as well. Tri-steel, not so much. Processes, more than we're probably going to use in a ridiculously long time. And the same for crystals. Honestly, outside repairs, we barely use them. Of course, if we design a new ship, that will change quite aggressively. But we'll see how things go. But so far, going good. Okay, moving into position to deal with a buzzard next. But so far, the Scarab is just stupidly good at its artillery role. Let's have the Fire Ant hang back. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look at you. Ooh, you're going to be a little bit more of a problem, aren't you? Right, Fire Ant, I would like you then to move far to the side. Scarab, I would want you to immediately rotate around. Let's make this happen. Go, go, go. Blast those thrusters. Like, rotate right now, actually. Okay. Well, let's cancel your current movement and just rotate. There we go. I should have done that to begin with. Spin around. There we are. Now, what are we going to go for first? Well, you've got a lot of shielding here. You've also got nukes. Strongly disapprove. Alright. Let's try and keep pace. It's got a lot of forward thrust, but honestly, I think we've probably got more. As long as I keep my distance. So start burning away as fast as you can. Fire Ant, I want you to do the same. Stay a decent way out range. If you can get around behind, that would be ideal. But for now, just try to get to the side if you can. The rails are lined up, so let's slow down time a little bit because I'm a little bit more worried about this engagement than the others. And start burning away. Are we going to be able to accelerate faster? Yes, by a lot. Rails away, good, or at least one of them. Right, Scarab. Let's fan. Let's go this way if you could. You can still be moving away from the target. You just need to spin your butt, basically. And then the other way. About there. Fire both. Tonk tonk. Now we're chipping through the armor, and that's all we're going to be doing for a little while, but that's fine. Alright. Fire Ant is in position, in a much better position. You scooch around right behind. We don't want to get close enough to use our nukes, because if we're close enough to use our nukes, they're close enough to use theirs. Basically, and I wouldn't mind taking the nukes from this ship if we could. Right, back to the Scarab. Alright, where are you facing currently? Let's spin around that way. And we should see another 2 rail fires. Yeah, we're slowly making our way through all of that. How often the rail can fire, though, is another matter entirely. I don't see any kind of glow on this. Oh, no, there we go. Pop. And so once again, honestly, if we can just keep this firing a maximum fire rate, I'm just really tempted to add more rails, if I'm honest with you. It feels like a ridiculously effective strategy right now. And again, though it is taking a long time to get through this. And there we go. Pop. Never got in range to actually attack. That must be embarrassing. Alright, let's double down on this. I think it's fair to say that this strategy is... Well, I mean, considering we were talking about stinky cheese earlier, maybe, but I'm going to say that a real-world tactic like that, you know, artillery is artillery. That's the whole point of artillery. Hit your opponent from vastly outside their range to hit you back. It's not quite the same as pushing your friends into a sun and them not getting mad at you for it. I think that they are different levels of cheese. But give me a few moments. I think the Dapper 1 is due a slight upgrade. Slightly more than a few moments later, we are ready to make it so. I honestly was expecting just to slap these side by side, but then it occurred to me that there would be no shield covering the inner two railguns, since the shields are provided by the shield to the left and originally to the right of these. So I had to slap a couple of extra shields down the middle, but this should give us all of the coverage that we need. In fact, this is going to give quite a lot of people availability. I decided to use two regular small reactors here. Now, I realize that might seem a little bit odd, but because it's only 4 wide, a medium reactor wouldn't have really fit properly. And a large reactor was an awful lot to put down here. I still might change it, but the reason why I went for 2 of these is because they have the same hit points. All of the reactors have the same hit points, and that is just 4,000. And so, by having 2 of them, damage over here and damage over here will take from different health pools, which might mean they won't explode, whereas a single large reactor would. I really am not sold on it yet, but that's the reasoning, if you're wondering. But go ahead and make it so. That's a fairly expensive build there, and now I need to quickly get all of these set up. Thankfully, it shouldn't take me too long to do. Let's get these spread around. Oh, actually, I'm going to need a couple of extra bunks, in fact, back here to make sure that all of that is running. Ooh, I hadn't considered that, but those bunks would actually make sense if we went ahead and simply changed this out for a large bunk. So let's go ahead and pop this in right there. I guess at that point it's going to necessitate putting the airlock on the inside, and I'll do that on the other side just to keep everything looking the same, and then we'll just fill that in for now. Pop, there we go. Right, that should do all we need. Let's get rid of you. Okay, I think that should be everything. Now, just to quickly set up the rearming, the priorities on where energy is going, so on and so forth. Everything looks good there. That's about the only thing we really needed to change. Ideally, these are all set up as they should be. Let's just have a look. That sort of works. Yeah, no, that all seems to be where it needs to be, which is perfect. Alright, I'm just going to put the finishing touches, get the crew ready, and then we're going to jump into the next battle and see how double the railguns does. Okay, time to try out the Scarab's combat capabilities now that it's got twice as many rails. Though I will note that the Scarab is now half as... well, so half? I certainly hope not. It's lost about 10 meters a second. Half as fast? My god, that would be awful. Though it might well be while it's dragging around asteroids. I swear. We need some sort of asteroid declutterer device on the front of our ships. Now, there are a lot of enemies coming in, so this may well be an instance where we can simply rotate around and deal with them as they show up. Fire ant, let's keep you off to the side for now, but let's rotate you around so you're ready to make a rapid getaway. Ooh, we lost power there. Now, why was that? That is definitely not a thing that should be happening. Let's see. What is set to power the scanner? Ah, you've got an incredibly long route now to get there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over this one to handle the scanner. The alternative is I could perhaps... no, I don't have the plates aboard at the moment. But adding in some space there and having power drawn across might also help. But either way, losing the scanner will be devastating for the Scarab. Its entire gimmick is being able to hit things from far away. Right, let's make sure that we pop the right thing. So first up, let's swing through you. Let's see if the Scarab is ready to hit you. Let's draw your rails to the side. Oh, there we go. We're already firing. Slow time right down. Now these ones should be easy to pop. Have we taken it out? I imagine we have with pinpoint accuracy. Let's go for this one next. And we are going to want Scarab to swing all the way through. Like so. Let's go ahead and watch this in motion. At 1/4 speed. fire the rails, or hopefully fire the rails. Oh, there we go. Pop. All right, next up, we want you. These ones are just trivial for the Scarab to deal with at this point. It's barely even a fight, but it's still kind of fun to watch. We'll go up to full speed, though. Pop. And the final one. Now, you're going to be a bit of an issue. I'm going to be honest. Now, you're a little bit more of a tanky one. Could we burrow through with 4 rails, though, is the question. That is an important question, too. Let's drag the rails well off target. And now drag them through. Trying to use R a little bit more. Pop. All 4. Let's slow this one down a little bit. So that's all the way through first. Now let's drag them the other way. There we go. Watch as the Scarab continues to advance. Can it keep pace? Yes, it is ever so slightly faster. And our friend over there is joining in the fight. Straight down, let's have a look. I mean, we're cleaving the armor pretty convincingly, but it'll take a while to get through all of this. Let's drag the rails back across again. And then through. And fire. Pop. Have we taken out the crystal? I believe we have, yes. So they no longer have any weapon to speak of. Well, I mean, I say that they're armed with nukes, so I mean, that definitely counts, but still. Let's rotate back through. There we go, and back again. I'm loving the fact that this is able to easily manage moving away like this. Now let's pause. I think it is a little bit more comfortable to rotate that way, though, for me, if I'm honest. And then back through. Should see the others firing. Am I not getting all of the rails active anymore? That might well be the case. Let's have a look. That entire rail is shut down. Why? What hasn't got power? Oh, it's... oh, of course. I haven't doubled up the amount of porters. Nor, I think, have I set the porters to help out here. So that's definitely something I'm going to need to do. I'm going to need porters in the middle. Right. That is quite interesting. Let's get those porters helping out. But we definitely are going to want to add in some extra bunks then on the inside here. Some porters specifically to load these railguns. That should keep us going. Glad to have gotten that particular problem worked out. You may as well just kind of hang tight with the Scarab for now. This fight is pretty much already over. Spin through all the way across if we can. We've only got 2 rails firing at this stage. There's not really much left of a ship there, to be honest, but it's trying to turn away, maybe even to face off against the fire ants. No, not even slightly. Okay, well, that gives us something I need to change. Now, all of this extra killing power has come at a cost, and that is the crew complement is now 148. We actually increased it by 32, and in fact, we're going to increase it by another 4, so it's 36 extra crew to run the 2 extra railguns and also all the shields at the front and the shields at the back. Still, I think this has made the Scarab ridiculously capable in its primary role as an artillery ship. I think we're probably going to want to add more thrusters, though, because I'm a little bit worried about the lack of speed that this ship now has. We should be able to just strip everything back from over here. But whilst we're doing that, let's go ahead and add in the bunks. We're going to need to pop over to the station in order to get... Oh. I play so many different games that all have different rotate buttons. It is so incredibly frustrating, but oh well. Okay, well, I'll get all of that set up, and I'll go grab some more crew once we've finished stripping apart this carcass. And I think we'll get 1 or 2 more fights in before the end of the video, depending on how long this video's already been. I will check that as well. And yes, this is an eyesore. I can barely understand it myself, and I'm the one that did it. When you've got this many group designations. Yikes. Okay then, we appear to have, well, a bit of a chunky enemy to play around with. I think this will be a suitable playmate for the Scarab. Let's keep the fire ant nice and far back though. The Scarab should just be within range. Somewhere about there would do. Fire ant, how about you swing off to the side, just so that we know you're not going to become a primary target there. That will do very nicely. Though I think you may already be a little bit too close. That being said, no, it doesn't look like they've spotted you. Right, Scarab is in position, or will be very soon. In fact, the Scarab has already turned around. Perfect. Okay then, Scarab. Let's see. What do we want to try and do? We could honestly just burrow straight through the middle. There's a lot of armor to get through, but it's probably going to be easier than punching through the shield, if I'm perfectly honest. It depends on how much speed this has, and it does have a lot of top-tier thrusters, so this might be able to do that. Okay, well, let's have a watch of how this plays out. You know what? I'm going to rotate the camera. Why? Because it's a lot easier for me to do the fanning if I have the camera in this general orientation. I want you to... Whoa. Spin around in that direction, please. And there we go. When all four of them hit, all four of them hit. My God, that thing was destroyed. I'm not going to lie, I was legitimately worried that we were about to have a nuke to the face of the Scarab, and we were going to really test how good of defense the point defense was. But no, apparently. Okay, that was very, very good. Let's find out what this signal is then. Let's get on down here. We have got a nothing. Oh, no, we have got a something. Ooh, some very nice somethings as it happens. Just pop over there and strip that down, please. That will have some diamonds by the looks of it, some enriched uranium and a few bits of gold. Not a bad little haul, considering the Scarab just popped the opponent like they weren't even there. It really does feel like having the Scarab set up like this is going to put us in a good position for future combat, but right now it feels a little bit OP. And by a little bit, I mean quite a lot, actually. Right, hello. Right, they've got our scent. They are moving in. Let's keep you to the side, up somewhere around here, let's say, and ready to move. You're about to switch around, aren't you? Yes, you are. I should have done that on the other side. Let's do that then. Let's swing you over here and face the same way. About that direction. Yeah, that should... No, you need to be facing the other way, my bad. That way. Right then, Scarab. I would like you to engage this enemy. And let's see how this goes down. Scarab is in position. Let's see what we can pop. It looks like with this many enemies, it is going to be a bit of a slaughter, if I'm honest. It's dropped to half speed. Let's see what we can see. All three firing on this. And pop. There we go. Actually, all four fired. Wow. Okay, you can go for this one next. And you should be able to just fan a little bit further through. But these tiny ships have got a nice top speed, even with just small thrusters. Actually, no, these are standard thrusters. The Scarab, however, is going to be able to pop them long before they're within range, I should imagine. Now, the thing is, how long will these rails take to rearm and be ready to fire again? A little bit too long, it feels like. No, that was one done. Very nice. Only a single rail needed for that one. Let's spin all the way through. There we go. Turning thrusters would be very nice. If we extended the front of the Scarab and actually made this more of a circuit. Honestly, the Scarab is actually starting to have more of the Scarab kind of oval shape to it in a way. Wow, it's been a long time since I've seen those ions kick in. But I think if we could get the Scarab to the point where it was able to have a curved front and have this all a single kind of oval, I think that would really justify its name. That being said, Are we even going to need the rails there? No, we are absolutely not. Okay, well, let's speed things up. There's no reason to be going this slow. There we go, and hopefully the rails will engage. Why aren't the rails firing, though? Are they just not loaded? They seem to be. Let's make sure... Oh, well, maybe not. Never mind. I probably just hadn't properly selected it the first time. My bad. Let's see if the rail will pop that one. Yes, it will. Okay, well, there we go. That was nice and easy. Got one more enemy over here. The Balustraria. You look a little... Oh, I remember you. Now then, let's have a watch of what we can do here. Now, you've got enough speed there to be a bit of a problem. How about we have you... Well, you should be on the move. That should be fine. Right, let's have a see. Are you within range? You should be now, yes. Let's sweep the rails through. And that's it. My lord, this is ridiculous. And we're not even at max range yet. If I have a look at this, if we go into build mode, I should see... This is only 175. This can go up to 304. We're about halfway to the maximum power of the rails. And that also includes penetration. Increase to the railgun damage, penetration, range, projectile speed. Though the range is already at its maximum. That is 600. But damage, penetration, and projectile speed could go a lot higher. Another 125% increase on that. That would absolutely be ridiculous. And I think that's probably, if we're going to increase the power of the Scarab, I think that's where I would prefer to put the increases rather than having more rails, because that comes with significantly more crew costs. That being said, I mean, it's not like the crew cost for recharging the rails is particularly low. Still, I think it would be better to have longer rails rather than more rails at this stage. 4 rails feels like enough for me. I don't think we need to go any further than that. But let's go and see if we can't find another fight or 2 or 3. Okay, what have we got here? Our enemy is locked on. You are an interesting looking design. We've got tractor beams. Ooh. Now then. That is not exactly something I want to play with, if I'm perfectly honest. Let's try and get to the side. Let's hope that the Scarab is able to orient itself. Let's make sure that they're all set to target. Continue to spin around. Rails are in position. Now, is it going to be able to use that tractor beam? In fact, how far out can the tractor beam go? Let's have a quick look. Tractor beam range is 300 meters, so half the range of our rails, but about the range of our ions. So if we're close enough to engage the ions, we're too close. Way too close. But that was always going to be the case anyway, and... my lord. We don't even get to see what you do. Maybe the Scarab is too powerful. What terrible sins did we commit to command such power? I think the Scarab is more or less where it's going to be. I think we're not going to we're certainly not going to make this into any more of a hero ship than it already is. We're not going to add different weapon systems. I might refine the weapon systems we got. Yes, the paint is all messed up again, but I already know how we'll be painting this. But with the 4 rails, I think that's as much firepower is going to go with just the rails, the ions, and then the rest is going to be defensive systems to make sure it can do what it's set up to do. I do like the idea of extending the rails out, though. I'm not sure if we're going to go for maximum size. I don't think the Scarab really needs it, since we're not going to get any more range out of it. But getting more penetrative force out of it is definitely something I'd be interested in seeing. The other thing that we would be able to do, of course, is add some more speed. And I've got a plan for that. So the Scarab's design isn't yet fully in its final form. I think I will be holding off on popping this up on Steam, but I'm pretty comfortable with the Fire Ant at this point. Okay, one more Balustraria to finish off the episode. We've already killed its escort, the Fire Ant. I feel so bad for the Fire Ant. It's literally followed around the Scarab this entire episode, watching it have fun whilst it gets to do nothing. I almost feel like we shouldn't be making another ship at this point, otherwise I might be condemning it to the same fate as the Fire Ant. That being said, we have also used up a lot of the crew that I was able to hire to fully staff out the Scarab, so there's also that. Still, I think following this episode we are going to be looking at getting another ship up and running, or at least starting work on that. Right, the Scarab has rotated all the way through, so time to fan back the other way, and that should send out the next two. Let's have a watch of that. There they go. Oh, it is actually incredibly satisfying watching this happen. Let's have a watch, and straight through. Can we finish you off, though? We should be able to. You've still got enough crew there to be able to fight, so we're going to have to remove those, I'm afraid. Let's fan back through, and there we go. 3 shots, and we'll almost certainly destroy the reactor whilst those go through. There we are, we've cored the ship. At this point, at this difficulty, I feel confident in saying, outside of me making a tactical blunder, and, for example, letting a bunch of strong ships get too close to the Scarab, allow the Scarab to be flanked, that sort of thing, or, sticking it on a giant rock while it's trying to keep a distance, which happens more often than I'd like to admit. I don't think at this difficulty there's anything that's going to challenge the Scarab. So I do think that right now we're going to be bumping up the difficulty. We definitely need to do some things to get some more fame so that we can get the crew that we're going to need to be able to make a new ship. But that leaves us with the question of what ship to make. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning. Our choices are a combat ship or a utility ship, or possibly a utility/combat ship. But I think we're going to leave the idea of the Sun Diver away for now. Sun Lifter is what I would focus on if we decided to make a ship capable of dipping into into proximity with the sun. We might be able to militarize that later on, but it would basically be a utility hull that has some extra functionality. Alternatively, we could make a dedicated brawler, and that would mean cannons, and that mostly means deck guns, something that I know a lot of people have been asking for a very, very long time. So I'm going to leave that to you in the comments. Do let me know what you fancy, whether it be deck guns or tractor beams, and I will see what we can make in the next episode or two. I suspect the next one will be a little bit of combat at the very least. Again, we do need to free up some crew and go to a new system. This one has, I think we've seen everything that this system really has to offer of any particular value for our ships at the very least. So that's going to be where we wrap things up. I really do hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you will join me for the next. Do let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Scarab and its quad rail configuration, and I will see you next time. But until then, do take care.